Hello, 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 hello. Is everybody there? Anybody there? Hello. Good day, sunshine. John, Rebecca Michelo, Kathy Hanna. Can anybody hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I just got out of the shower. Woo! Gotta love my hair. Hey guys, you can. Great. How we doing today? How's everybody doing today? Cowboy Bear, for you. Are you the same one that's been dating our friend Ken Euchre? Are you that guy? Hey, Holly Jolly, Lady Amnesty, how you doing? Yup. Well, I could see why he can't refuse you. Good. I'm glad y'all can hear me. Can you hear me loud and clear? Thank you guys. So, how many were here last night for the book reading or yesterday for the book reading? Anybody? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody knows. So, I have a couple lives coming up. Thank you, Lady Amnesty. Thank you, Holly Jolly. Is everything all right with your family? Milk, honey, and mayhem. It's a fluid situation. It's a work in progress. I missed last night. I was watching my granddaughter. Ooh, soon you'll be watching 3 of them. 3 kids. 3 grandkids. Thank you, Milk, Honey, and Mayhem. I appreciate it. So I have a live with Milk, Honey, and Mayhem tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow, I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And she's going to tell us about her. No, unfortunately, what? Kathy Hanna, how you doing? So what was I saying? Yep. Oh, thank you, Cherokee girl. Cherokee people. Thank you so much. Edward's mom got it. I think Edward is the dog. Edward's got big ears. He's a corgi. Yeah. Milk, Honey, and Mayhem. So her channel is, I'm very excited about it. It talks about things in her area of Pulaski, Tennessee, and some weird stuff, weird happenings going around there, I can honestly say. But I have to tell you that I was impressed with her videos, and that's not because she's here. That's the truth. So, yes, I've actually caught a live. All right. How do you know we're live? How do you know we're not faking out on there? Hello. You're tired today? Kathy Hanna, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that you're tired today. I was laying down for a bit, woke up, took a shower, and I'm back. Hey, Just Jen, how you doing? All right, guys. So there's quite a few of you, and I thank you. And yeah, yep. This is black cherry seltzer water, and it's good. It's by Heirloom. When you know, you know. SD Anna MS, how you doing? How are you? Kathy, take an old lady nap. Hey, no ageism on this channel. I don't know, you may be scamming, but somehow I don't think so. Who's scamming? Who's a scammer? Getting up daily at 4:40 a.m. definitely sucks. Well, I'm still awake at 4:40 a.m. because I'm still at work. Southern girl here. Joy. All right, guys, are you ready? Who are at Toddy? You're gonna have to. I can't tell you who I am. We haven't quite figured it out yet, but maybe you'll get a little bit of who I am If you listen to my reading of my book, this is actually a book. It's a self-help book. I'm fine, Aleph, and how are you? Oh, how are you? Okay, I was gonna say, I'm all right. How are you, Aleph? Who's the scammer? Is there a scammer amongst us? Are they talking about me? I'm the scammer for giving you my book, for reading my book to you for nothing? Is that why? The book's not even for sale. I don't even think you could buy it. I guess you could buy it on Kindle. It would rather, I'm not worried about it, to be honest with you. I'm really not. So guys, I'm doing two things. I'm doing, like I said, a live with okay, Rebecca. All right, I'll read that when I'm done here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do a live with Milk Honey and Mayhem. And I don't know, probably a good thing you retracted that. And I'm gonna do a live with Uncorked with Brandy, which I think is gonna be Tuesday at, I want to say 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to say that's when that is. I have it. You guys should be getting, you should have had your bell ring or however that works. However that works. How are you awake after being up all night at work? Well, to be honest with you, I'm off last night. But there are times when I show up here at 2 o'clock anyway because I take naps in the middle of the day. What's it going to be about with Brandy? So she's going to talk a little bit about her relationship that she had with Fancy and her changes and how she sees things a little differently now. And she's friends with Christy Blanchard, and she's going to talk a little bit about how they became friends. And we're going to be open to that because that's how we roll here, and that's what we're going to talk about. And we'll see where that takes us. We'll see where that takes us. All right, guys. So we're at chapter 3. Oh, I love the graveyard shift. I asked for it. I wanted it. That's why I got it. Chapter 3 in the book called The Not So Secret Inside the Purple Purse. How are you? You were here last night. Thank you for joining us again. I appreciate it. I love these emojis, guys. Thank you. All right, guys. Sorry about my nose is running. It happens all. Thank you again for that. Inside the Purple Purse. Thank you so much for that. That was very kind of you. I'm trying to hit like. Why won't it let me hit like? Okay, here, let me hit that. Thank you so much. That was very nice. All right, guys. So the name of this book is my book. You can get it in Kindle. If you have Prime, I think you get it for free. And then I'm sorry. So then, yeah. So you can get that for free if you have the Kindle. I think if you have Prime, you can get the Kindle thing for free. Otherwise, I think it's $2.99. But I'm reading it to you. Oh, emoji, it's fun. Hey, emojis are like the primal paintings now. See, we're going backwards. See that? Everything's written by a picture. That's truly the universal language, that. All right, guys, are you ready? Okay, I don't know why we're talking about friggin' heart attacks in here, but all right. Okay. I love reading to you too. All right. Chapter 3. Life. What a trip, yeah? I've come to realize that if you are a good surfer, you can ride life with balance and what looks like to be ease. Excuse me. That is a perfect metaphor because compared to anything else that is physical, I think surfing describes the act of participating in life best. After all, we really never know what's coming off the horizon. We only have one mission in mind, and that is to enjoy the ride and stay well-footed. Balance and ease, balance and ease. That takes some practice. I have only spent one afternoon on a surfboard. I should have known then. How are we supposed to feel when we are faced with the fact that at least half of our life has passed? Did we keep up with our plans? You know, not the ones that we actually told people about, but the ones we expected from ourselves. Have we exceeded our expectations? Did we even come close? Or did we change the goals as we allowed life to change us? Have we rented ourselves out to an employer 40 hours or so a week and compromised our dreams? Did we attach ourselves to the wrong person just to be a part of an us? Maybe we were too afraid to travel life alone that we compromised our happiness and allowed contentment to take its place, just to find the wrong person waiting for us when we get home. And after we get home, we do everything in the world to avoid them. What have we actually compromised? Was it worth it? The real question, will we do it the same way again? I've come to the conclusion that many people live their lives pretending that they're someone else. Some people think this is before I knew fancy. Some people think I breathe their life into others and live vicariously through them. Was that a lesson from our parents? What have we taken with us from them? We're all supposed to be a product of our past, our upbringing. Is that our excuse when we are not happy and things don't go our way? It's my parents' fault. How easy is it to point fingers? I'd like to know if we have really realized that we should be held accountable for the things we've done or said. I wonder myself the damage that I've caused with my words and actions. We're quick to take credit, but last to take blame. Isn't that like a survival tactic? What about owning up, learning from our mistakes? We cannot learn from something we dismiss as not being our fault when it is our fault. When is it our fault? How many people have we hurt with our carelessness or with our anger? How many times have we said something we didn't mean and then we realized what we said we didn't even think or care enough to take the time to apologize? Why do people seem to just talk to hear their own voice? Why do they throw their sentiments on us? Better yet, why do we let them? Why is it easier to remember the bad words than the good? Human beings are creatures of habit, which makes it hard for us to change our ways. But if we are just getting by, if we are unhappy, if our life is not ours yet, and we are its vehicle, then we must change our course. If not, we will live in the could haves, would haves, and could have, should haves, and the would have done's, and I can't imagine somebody wanting to live in. And I can't imagine somebody wanting to live in regret. At midlife, is it the time to start taking Prozac or another antidepressant? Since when has it become normal to take them? Drugs have become our everything fix it tool. We have made it too damn easy to escape that we stop trying to figure anything out. Is it now time to start looking at the glass as half full or half empty? All of the things we were supposed to be, can we still be them? Have we wasted time and hoping and waiting, or did we go after what we wanted? And if we haven't made it, is it because we haven't tried? Are we happy? Are we proud of where we are in our life right now? If it were all to end tomorrow, would we be satisfied with our life story? Would we be pleased with our contribution during our stay? Good thing for most of us because it's not over yet and we still have time to deviate from our blueprints. Some people make it and live successful lives, and that is not only determined by acquired tangible things, it is by respect and integrity. Sadly, however, we end up living our lives by money. It changes our minds, cancels our plans, it ends our marriages, puts obstacles in our relationships with our children, strains our friendships, makes liars out of the honest. Yet we want it, and society has put a price tag on it. It's just my luck that the stuff I like is on the top shelf, and not only can I afford it, but I can't even reach it. The truth is, money has always persuaded us to deviate plans and fumble our priorities. It is something that has become more and more important, not just because of its necessity, but because what we seem to always want is usually what somebody else already has. Do we really know what they have? I have this saying, the grass is always greener on on the other side of the fence, but there's the same amount of dog shit over there. At least on this side, you already know where to stand. So I guess my credentials and audacity for thinking I can write this book is from living in this world and being a part of it. You'd be surprised at how many people don't participate in their own lives. If that's you, wake up. I've come to realize that everyone has a story to tell. We just don't care enough to listen. So here we begin. How are we, guys? Hello? Hello? I ran out of my beverage, so hang on. I need to get more. Hey, you guys, you eating peanut butter? Everybody's got peanut butter in the house. Everybody's favorite is peanut butter. All right. Every time Milo has peanut butter, even every time Milo eats, right? He lays on his back and rubs his neck and head and top of his snout onto the dog bed that he's laying on. I used to think he had allergies and he was just itching, but I think he's just happy. Because it's no matter what he eats, every time. It's weird. They all have, I've had a lot of dogs, a lot of pets. They're all unique, one from the other. He ain't sleeping, he just finishes peanut butter. I was telling them about you and your peanut butter crush. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. And he's a boxer, so he moves his head a lot. Yeah, buddy. Thanks for winking at me, sunshine. All right, guys, how are you? You okay? You guys liking this? Yeah, you know, you guys obviously these are going to be up here. If you wanted to, you could cut out the bullshit of me just talking between and just take all the chapters and put them together and have your own little Kindle audio for free, guys. Absolutely for free. I have the weirdest dog I've ever had is Danny. Danny is the weirdest dog I've ever had. She is hard to read. She is trying to teach me patience. It's not going very well. I don't understand her. She's not food motivated sometimes. Thank you again, Cherokee girl. She's not a very food motivated dog. It's really weird. Sometimes I gotta coax her to come out from under the bed, and there's nothing that happened. Lately, she's been getting on the bed, and she takes her snout and puts it in between the pillows, and I have like 6 pillows on the bed. And then all of a sudden, she starts snoring on my shoulder. So, guys, a new dispensary opened right down the street from me, and it's really nice. And I mean, it really looks nice, and it's not as expensive as some of the other ones, but one of the other ones that I really like the people that run it. It's just a little bit further away. So, let's do audio. You want my audio? All right, guys. So, we're going to chapter 4. You guys are enjoying this? Yes. Sometimes I feel like Alice down the rabbit hole, guys. I don't ask. Listen, Alice down the rabbit hole. I just found out, and Alice, I hope this is okay with you. I just found out that she lost her monetization, and the only way she can get paid from YouTube right now is buy her a cup of coffee, maybe do a membership to her channel. And she lost her monetization because she speaks the truth. And, you know, I don't know if she depends on YouTube or anything, but if y'all want to buy her a cup of coffee, or if somebody wanted to get me a cup of coffee today, can we buy her a cup of coffee instead? Because she works really, really hard. She was one of the first people I did a live with, by the way. Very gracious. She's been around longer than me, and I really like her. So anybody that wants to do that for her, you know, that would be great. And make sure it's the right one. You know, you want to go to Alice down the rabbit hole. Please don't go to the other one. Go to Alice down the rabbit hole. All right. All right, guys. Okay, so let's go to you guys ready to go to chapter 4? Yeah, Alice is good people, man. She's good people. She's always no, not a problem, Alice. You've always been so supportive and kind, and I appreciate that. I'm sorry that happened to you. We got to shut those bad guys down. All right, guys. Well, I just got smoke in my eyeballs. Smoke in my eyes. Does anybody know the color of my eyes? First person that says the color of my eyes, I'll send you a bracelet, because somebody from the UK or Norway bought a bracelet yesterday. I didn't know I was still selling them. I have some. Nope, they're not blue. Come on, people now. Green, milk, honey, and mayhem. All right, Jamie. Send me your address and I'll send you a bracelet. So you can email me your address. No, it's green. It's green, and Milk, Honey, and Mayhem got it first, guys. So, oh, you wrote a book called "It Is No Secret." Very cool. No, I didn't know that. Milo, listen. Hey, there's a neighbor I think is coming home. Like the kids are coming home from school right now. My dogs are trying to act like dogs, like they're protective. In the meantime, Danny's tail's up. Milo, hey, guys, come on. All right, guys, you ready? It's over. I have green eyes, though. It's over. Fox and Faye. Oh, yeah, my dad lived in Johnson City, too. Yeah, not funny. Wow. All right, guys, let me go back to, where's my book? Oh, shit, there's some personal stuff in here. Hang on, hang on, I gotta find it. I'm using a little Kindle. The little guy. It's a little one. See, little Kindle. All right, guys. So chapter 4. Why did all that have to happen? Anybody that's smoking? Why did all that have to happen? Seems like we all, fortunately or not, come from someplace. That place, whether we remain there physically or not, remains in us. As it is not so much the location, but the memories. If we allow them to, they will grow in our minds like that huge fence we climbed on as a child, or that jungle gym that seemed so high, and now as adults, when looking upon those sights, we come to realize it was all in the perspective we had on it. The fence and jungle gym didn't shrink. We grew, and our perspective changed. Memories you cannot face remain very large, and that obstacle begins expanding into something that continues growing and takes on a life of its own. So it's important to understand, especially where we come from, because, like it or not, it is the makeup of our core, our foundation. Everything else grows from there. Most of the time, it's the people that remain the hardest and most trying obstacle to overcome, because as we grow, so do they. No one likes to hear, it's my parents' fault for who I am. They never said they loved me. They never supported me. They never listened. All the sayings we heard, no one likes to hear them, especially the listener. It's true though. More times than not, something had something had everything to do with what a parent did or didn't do to us. The good memories get lost, and the not so pleasant ones are the most remembered and leave us with the greatest imprint. How long can we blame our parents? When is it that we stop blaming our past and start learning from it? After all, we are adults now. When I was a child, very young, no more than 5 years old, I had an incident in kindergarten. I still remember it vividly. Every day before school. This is a true story. I actually did a video on this. All right. So, all right. When I was a child, very young, no more than 5 years old, I had an incident in kindergarten. I still remember it vividly. Every day before school actually began, we would stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Then the principal would ask if anyone had anything to say. A little boy raised his hands. He said I had bit him. He even had the teeth marks to prove it. However, they were not mine. I didn't bite the boy. This went on for about 2 weeks. The second time, he accused me of biting him. I got spanked. They could do that back then. Still, I didn't bite the kid. My cries of innocence had fallen on deaf ears, even to my parents who decided I should be punished at home. To this day, I don't know why I was not believed by the school or my parents. I don't remember having a habit of lying. Actually, I've always had this conscience, and it has steered me in an honest direction. Apparently, however, it was not visible to others. I realized at an extremely young age that telling the truth didn't always matter. I also learned what extortion was because no one seemed to believe that I didn't bite that boy. And because I got tired of being spanked and punished, I worked out a deal with the young one day to be working for the mob extortionist. I brought him one of my toys each day just so he wouldn't bite himself, raise his hand, and blame me for it. One morning before going to school, my dad wanted to teach me a lesson about biting someone, so he bit me. It wasn't so much that he had bitten me hard, but still, when I got to school, I had his teeth marks on me. So you guessed it, after the Pledge of Allegiance, right about the time that the boy's hand would go up, mine flew up. I said that the boy bit me. I had the teeth marks to prove it. No one seemed to bother to notice that they were adult teeth marks, just like no one ever bothered to notice that the boy's teeth marks were straight and my baby teeth were not. I guess because the principal had enough of the biting nonsense, he immediately took the boy and began spanking him. The boy cried. Actually, he put up a fuss bigger than I ever did. You'd think I would have enjoyed that. I did not. My conscience kicked in, yes, even back then, and I told the principal what I did. Stupid me. My conscience had been cleared, but my butt was to be spanked and my mouth to be washed out with soap. The whole time proclaiming that never once did I bite that boy. It was an extremely important lesson and one that I needed to learn in life, but I'm not sure that it was fair to have it learned so very young. I'll tell you what, though, that boy never said that I bit him again after that day. So at 5 years of age, I was almost self sufficient. I definitely learned that I would probably have to take care of myself in life. And if all else failed, I figured you could probably buy time until you have sorted out a solution. My parents claim not to remember the biting incident. Why should they? But it left an impact on me. I certainly remember it. Still remember the boy's first name, too. I wonder if and how he remembers it, or if it left some sort of impact on his life, too. I'm curious to know what he grew up to become, probably a politician today. For me, that incident made me defensive for years to come, and like an innocent criminal on trial, I was always gathering proof of my actions so that I could clear myself. I became very attentive to detail back then. I also began to question why people do some of the things they do. For example, what made that boy say I bit him to begin with? Did he devise his plan on the way to school? Was he accused of things he didn't do? Did he have a crush on me and that was his way of flirting? Hopefully that changed for him if that was the case, because I can't see that approach working out. Maybe he just wanted some new toys, though it was me that came up with the deal. Whatever it was, that incident became a thought when I was developing the blueprint for my life. I try not to accuse. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I do listen to all three sides of one story. Sometimes still, it doesn't always work out. The results sometimes have their surprises. However, you keep going. You can go through life with too much caution, or you can go with caution. Simply pay attention, but enjoy. What is it meant to be? What is meant to be in life will be. I believe the ultimate ending is predetermined. We do, however, have choices in the roads that we take that get us there. Those choices are the ones that we have been making since the days we took our first steps. We were unknowing as children and sometimes even as adults that we were and are walking the roads that we have chosen. The choices were for a reason. Do we know that now? Are we still on that very same road? Do we even know how we got there? If we're unhappy, can we change the road? You bet. The fact is that we all come from and are built from memories, a reflection that either welcomes us back with open arms or something we push away. Maybe they are a manifestation that we try very hard to forget and hope doesn't grow anymore and dictate to us in any negative way. As adults, now it is our choice. People go through life still angry about their past, carrying baggage that is Too old to even have wheels. What could be the purpose of someone not letting go of occurrences that are decades old? Isn't it tiring hitting the same old brick wall? Being trapped in an unpleasant time machine? Do we still hear our parents' voices in our heads just like we did when we were children? Do you hear something like this? One day you'll learn. You think you know it all now, but one day you'll get it. Maybe you didn't have it that good. Maybe your parents questioned their belief in you. So the same statement from them would be, I don't know if you'll ever learn. Or maybe you came from the bitter parent, the one that hated their own life. Or maybe you came from the bitter parent, the one that hated their own life so bad they had absolutely no faith in yours. Their statement probably went something like this: you'll never learn. Like I said, we all come from something. Unfortunately, it is usually what we heard. Understand where you come from? The relationship you had with your parents and siblings? Maybe you can't forget the negative, but finding reason behind some of the actions might help you forgive or at least get past it. Let me give you this to think about. There is a difference in doing things to spite and doing things in spite. When you do something to spite someone or a situation, then revenge is the action that you seek. If you do things in spite of a situation, then learning from it and changing it is the result. Which do you think is healthier? What type of person do you want to be? Which one has less baggage? What do you guys, how are you? How is everybody doing? Hello, hello. Did I miss something? Did I miss something in the chats? You got to go to Alice Down the Rabbit Hole's link tree and go to buy a coffee. And then you could pay with Apple Pay or there's other ways. It was very easy, I think so. Through the vines, how you doing? How you doing, guys? Are we okay? Do you want me to read another chapter? Oh, okay. Sorry, Alice Down the Rabbit Hole, because I wasn't familiar with that link tree thing. I'm sorry. I should have kept my mouth shut. And Milk, Honey, and Mayhem said, yes, please keep your mouth shut. Are you enjoying it, Kathleen? Good. Aleph. Good, good. I'm glad you guys are liking it. So I'll go ahead with chapter 5. All right, everybody. Light up my life. I forgot to look to see when I wrote this book. I have to tell you though, the format is all wonkadoodly on this book in the Kindle app. It really is. It's really not. The format is really effed up, so that's too bad. But I have to say, I think it reads well after so many years, and I don't like reading my own stuff, to be honest with you. I don't. Of course, I read it the whole time I was writing it and rewriting it, so I've read it so many times that, like, after it's out there, it's like, I don't think I wanna read it again. But I'm glad that you guys wanted me to read this book. I'm getting something from it. Alright, chapter 5, are we all back? We are our own worst critic, but when I put the end on something and I send it out, I'm really happy with it. Otherwise, it doesn't get those 2 words at the end of it, and it certainly doesn't go out. But it's been a long time since I've written. Danny's looking at something. She's just looking at something. Probably a squirrel. All right, chapter 5. Who do we want to be? Who do you think you are? Who do we want to be? We always seem to know what it is we don't want to be. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to clean toilets for a living. It's simple to know what we don't want. We don't want boring. We don't want routine, though I have heard many people claim that they do. I just want a simple life. Haven't you heard that? Well, if that's the case, why is the divorce rate up so high? Why is infidelity and debt running rampant? If we, in fact, just want a simple life, why did we make it so complicated? It's easier to say that we don't want rather than to be held accountable for the expectations of others in us. Whoa, what's it say? Hang on. It's easier to say what we don't want rather than to be held accountable for the expectations of others. Oh, for the expectations others have in us when we say what we do want. Okay, that makes sense. So let me repeat that. That's a long ass sentence, though. If we, in fact, just want a simple life, no. Okay, why do we make it so complicated? Question mark. It's easier to say what we don't want rather than to be held accountable for the expectations others have in us when we say what we do want. That makes sense. It's obviously much easier to say something than to actually go after it and achieve it. And again, before I met Fancy, and I never really met Fancy, but before our paths came across, people just don't make it easy to let us forget some of the things we say. Again, Fancy. Are we some of those people? That's Fancy. Is that who we wanted to be? Fancy. And I told you so type. Whoa, enough! That's my neighbor upstairs who decided, I don't know, to throw maybe a chair against the floor. Not cool. It doesn't happen much, but like that was fucking loud. All right, so sorry about that. One of the reasons why I'm saving up to get out of the apartment, I don't like somebody over my head, and I don't want to live on the top floor. So we need a little place with our own little yard for my two puppies until we leave the country. People just don't make it easy for us to wait. People just don't make it easy to let us forget some of the things we say. Are we some of those people? Is that who we wanted to be? And I told you so type. Are we one of those people that enjoy seeing failure in others? Do we strive just enough for contentment because we are too lazy or afraid to go for happiness? Do we think that we deserve that? These are some of the same questions that were hit on before. Have you ever thought about them? Who we want to be and who we are, we have control over that. That is one of the few things we can change. It's not easy making changes, especially major changes at this stage of our lives, but certainly it can be done. As we know, old habits are hard to break, but not impossible. Old habits are changed by new habits. It's making that conscious effort. For a long time, I used to speak to people like they were, I don't know what. It was terrible, and I don't know what gave me the right. It did make me feel powerful, though. I realized that not everybody that acted like that. Oh, hang on a second, because this is again the. You see, it's like they're not different paragraphs. They're in one sentence. Oh, thank you so much, Pat's Pajama. That's really nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Don't think I ain't saving for it. So let me try this again. For a long time, I used to speak to people like they were, I don't know what. It was terrible, and I don't know what gave me the right. It did make me feel powerful, though. I realized that not everybody that acted like they liked me actually liked me. Okay. I realized that not everybody that acted like they actually liked me. Some of them feared me. Some people, even family, were afraid to approach me on certain topics. Partners hid things from me because of how I might react. To tell you the truth, I thought I liked it. I used to think that I must be pretty important to be thought of so much, but really, I would want to know what was the fear. I would ask that I wouldn't leave them was the that I wouldn't leave them was the usual answer. I don't know how responsible I am for that fear. I don't know how responsible I am for that fear. My dad had said to me years ago, oh, this is the thing that I've told you guys before. My dad had said to me years ago, and I have never forgotten it. If one person says something about you, let it go. Probably doesn't apply. Two people say the same thing about you, it's a coincidence. But if 3 people say the same thing about you, they don't know each other. Might want to look at that. Well, the truth I heard, well, hang on. Well, truth, I heard I was a hard bitch on more than 3 occasions. I also saw my actions and heard my words come out of somebody else's mouth, and it hit me like a smack in my own face. Sorry, a smack in my own face, and I couldn't ignore it. I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like that I understood it. Mostly, I didn't like that it reminded me of me. Finally, in my 30s, I looked into it. It's been many years since I've spoken to people in that way in which I once did. As a matter of fact, at one point, I went to the total opposite extreme, and I had shoe tracks on me. Shoe tracks, you know. So in other words, I went from being a hard right bitch to being a doormat. And so I was a doormat. And let me tell you, people don't even notice doing that. And those that did, they acted like they didn't care. I'm still working on getting in the middle between the two. This is like 10, 15 years later. I'm definitely more in the middle than I've ever been. I don't like being a doormat any more than I like being a feared and irresponsible, neglectful person who could shred someone's emotions with words and tone. Much of my life I spent showing an independent spirit only to be secretly seeking approval. I don't live like that anymore. I have my own approval to seek, and that bar is much higher than anyone can place on me. I also know that taking on the responsibility of seeking others' approval was certainly of my choice. I choose differently now. I realized I didn't have to carry that around in my baggage anymore. People don't have to approve of me. I can still stand tall. Not everyone is going to understand me. I'm not supposed to be popular among everyone. Who is? I'm certainly not compromising myself about it any longer. There are people that expect more from us than what we agreed or believed we thought was fair. Just because someone gives us something or puts something upon us, it doesn't mean we have to take it. That's really important, guys. Like, I'm serious, because our reaction is to grab something. If somebody goes to give us something, our reaction is to take it, and we don't have to do that. So, just because someone gives us something or puts something upon us doesn't mean we have to take it. I know that is a reaction to grab or attempt to catch something when it's given or tossed to us. You certainly don't have to continue to carry it with you through life. I know that this was one of the contributing factors to my personality those 10, 12 years ago. So we're going back about 27 years, apparently. I also, and I would say that that time I seeked therapy when I was with Jennifer, and that was about 27 or so years ago. We were still in our relationship, and things were working out. And I went to therapy because I saw somebody say something about a coffee machine. And I thought, whoa, that's me. I don't like the way that looks. And I wanted to do something about it. I'm glad I did. I've been to therapy since. When I lost everybody that year in 2021, I started going to therapy in 2022. And I just basically stopped over the past month or so ago. I also came to the conclusion, hang on. Okay. I allowed myself to feel inferior, and therefore I felt that I had to make others feel that way too. That's a true admission that still makes me feel ashamed and takes the wind out of me when I admit it. I also came to the conclusion, and a most humbling one at that, when I truly had the enlightenment of realizing that the world did not revolve around me and that I had responsibility in it. This came to me in all of places of freight elevator. So you guys have heard this story before. They say that things can happen in the weirdest of places. Well, this life-changing moment happened while I was working at the jail. I worked for a crazy man, a man that really had no rhyme or reason to him that I could figure out. He was the moodiest person without female parts that I had ever met. So with the theory of women being moody, well, this man had any woman that I had ever met beat. He could have taught a class in mood swings and tantrums. He was a man who was not the boss at home, so he made sure he was the boss at work. I do have to say this for him. He was a hard worker. He started from the bottom and worked his way up. He also cared about the inmates as well as his position. And I don't know, he's Iranian, and I only say that because he was so hard to understand. And a lot of Iranians are known to have like this, I don't want to say, when they get upset, like they start spewing words, and sometimes they make them up because if they don't speak fluent English, they throw some Iranian stuff or that's not Farsi in there and stuff. Anyway, um I don't know if I appreciated Sam as much as I do today back then, but I'm talking about my boss, Sam, and I appreciate him a hell of a lot more than I appreciated him even 15 years ago. And I didn't work for him back then either. It's probably been about 30 years since I've worked for Sam. Anyway, so let me get into this because it's still a great story. Anyway, he started from the bottom, worked his way up. He also cared about the inmates as well as his position. I also need to say this, when you really needed him, he was there. So though his exterior was that of a madman, his insides were mush. He also taught me a few things. One being that if you don't like what you are doing in life, then you are wasting your time. The second thing, hang on. The second thing is the biggie, and I'm not even sure that he even knows he played a part in it. My boss had come into work in one of his usual impossible for male PMS moods. It was very possible and often synonymous with him, though. Anyway, he was having an issue with one of the cooks about a recipe and how the cook inmate messed it up. Also, how the staff, me, allowed the mistake. Allowed the mistake, I'm sorry. My boss just screamed every single word he screamed. At least a 2-minute monologue into a shattering pitch that would fit suitably between breaking glass and sounds only animals could hear. I would have preferred the latter, but it wasn't my choice and I had no control. Finally, the madman who would turn a bright tomato red when he got so angry sent me downstairs to where our supplies were kept for cans of tomato sauce so that he could attempt to fix the recipe or start from scratch. I don't remember. I recall him barking orders at me though, like we were in a life death situation. With that curtness and his charming brash ways, I was relieved to get away from him. So I had the back door open by the control tower and I went into the elevator. I was angry and I would often speak out loud to myself in frustration. As I was slamming the freight elevator closed, which is done by pulling a strap, and so the doors come together horizontally, I questioned loudly. I remember it. God, I said, I know that people are put into my life for a reason, but for the life of me, I cannot understand why you put this man in mine. What could I possibly learn from him? Then I felt it. It was like a silent answer, yet somewhere, somehow, I heard it. If people could come into my life for a reason, then maybe I'm supposed to come into theirs for a reason. Something made sense. A complete righteous alignment of peace came over me. I got it. I felt it. Maybe it's not that my boss was to be in my life as much as I was supposed to be in his. Maybe it was me that was supposed to teach him. From that moment on, I treated him with more patience and more understanding. From that moment, I realized that I had a responsibility for being in this world. I had also made a wholehearted commitment that I would honor that and try to adhere to it. I certainly would pay attention. This I decided I would continue to carry and add it to the blueprint of my life. I was going to remember that I too come into people's lives for a reason. I became more humble when I had that revelation. I guess I had been more than arrogant to think that it was all about me. It had become part of my makeup. It was in the way that I treated people. That day, I learned patience and understanding. Again, I don't know why those things had to be taught. I guess because as we grow, we are taught survival skills. not ones to help us survive in a civilization, though. Just survival skills as if we're the only ones around. After all, whether we like it or not, it is me, me, me. Place in which we live. Wait. What is it? After all, whether we like it or not, it is me, me, me. Place in which we live. That doesn't make any sense. I didn't invent it. I just have to survive in it. Oh, it's a me, me, me world in which we live in. And I don't mean me. I mean, that's that day, though. That day made me kinder. And in this world, it sure can't hurt. What are you guys thinking? Where are we? You saying the Gypsy ahoy? You think she'd like my book? Should I send her a copy of it? How we doing? Danny, how you doing? What are you guys looking at? Come here, give me that faces. Go lay with your bro. Go lay with your brother. Um, I'm sound. I have good sound. All right. What time is it? Should we do one more chapter? No, I'm glad you guys are liking it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the likes, guys. I appreciate that too. And thank you for the monies. I know that I missed some stuff. Thank you for that. Always appreciate that. Guys, I'm glad that you like the book, Kathy. That means a lot to me. That really does. All right, where am I though? Should we go to chapter 6 and we can end after chapter 6? Excuse me. I'm sorry about yesterday. Yeah. I do want to get an RV. I do. I'm like stuck. I'm not sure what my lease here is up in July, and I know that I don't want to stay here. I have a place that I can put an RV. Um, but there might be something else that's available, so I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, the problem with the tiny home is that I don't want to stay in New York State when I retire. So I want to leave the country. So I don't want to own anything because I don't want to have to worry about selling anything. So that's why I don't want to do like a tiny house, you know. So I'm going to see what happens. You know, I'm going to see I can't do anything now cuz it's cold and stuff, but I'm going to at the end of April, first part of May, I'm going to start looking 100% into what it is. I do want to live in Scotland. I do. I'd love to live in the Highlands in Scotland. That's where I would love to end up. I'm not in Florida. I live in New York. Anyway, anybody that wants to light up, now's the time. I feel like AG Tactical. Remember AG Tactical? I haven't caught him in a while. I like that guy. Last time I saw his channel was kicking butt. It was good for him. I would move to Scotland in a minute. That's my favorite. Actually, I have a few Scottish backgrounds that I do in my StreamYard. I brought them up from Royal Mile in Edinburgh. I don't think I have any of the Highlands though. I love Fort William. I love Oban, Inverness. I love it there. Where I live now, the topography is very much like the Scottish Highlands. Yes, I visited several times. Several times. I've been to Wales, but I've only been to where the what is Dorset? is that, wait a minute. No, where? I've only been to where Cardiff. I'm sorry, Cardiff. That's the only place I've been to. An hour from Inverness. I've been throughout that whole place. Like I went all the way to Inverness and then came all the way back. So, all right, guys. I would love to live there. I would eat the UK. Yep. I would love to live there. But I think I'm gonna end up in Portugal because one of my best friends is from Portugal. And I've known her for over 40 years. So her and her wife are gonna go and they're gonna sponsor me. But it's not far from the UK. Can I take, isn't there a tunnel from Spain? I could take from Portugal, right? I mean, it's, I don't remember on the map, but I think I could drive. Can I drive there? Somebody tell me from Scotland. Can I drive there? Portugal is beautiful. Lived there in my 20s. Oh, did you? Portugal looks beautiful, yes, but I've not been there. I like the mountains. I've been to Liverpool. I loved it there. I spent like 4 days there. I did the whole Beatles thing. I loved it. I stayed at the Premier Hotel there. I didn't know it was like a Days Inn hotel, but I enjoyed it. It was right next to the Beatles thing. I spent very little time, but one day I got sick and spent the whole time in the hotel. And then they pulled us all out from the docks because there was something going on there. And that was about 11 years ago. I remember. All right, guys. So I've been to Alaska. Well, I've never been to Spain. Yeah. But I've been to Oklahoma. Liverpool. I love Liverpool. I loved it. I so enjoyed seeing Penny Lane and seeing like the whole song Sergeant Pepper, the whole that I loved it. I loved it. That was amazing. That was one of my most special days. I planned that for me. I did that for me on my 50th birthday and I loved it. I went to the Cavern Club, but I also went to Mona Best's place. That's not it, that wasn't, what was the name of her place? Pete Best, I met his brother and it was so tiny, that place. It was amazing. I had a great time. Yep, been to the Albert Docks. Yeah, buddy. Yep. Okay, are we ready? Chapter 6. What was the name of that place? I don't think it was the Cavern Club. It was the other place. It was tiny. Mona Best's place. But that's gonna bother me now. The Casbah. The Casbah. I should have made it about bracelets. You guys would have got in it. I saw the cruise ships right there. They make a lot of cruise ships there in Scotland, right? Or I mean, don't they? Or at least, I mean, I see that on the back of a lot of cruise ships, a lot of ships, but also Cunard Line is there. I'm pretty sure that the Cunard Line was there. I don't think it's called Cunard anymore, is it? But I remember that was there. I didn't rock the Casbah rock, but it was, oh, it was amazing. That was, I'm telling you, that was like one of my best things. And that Beatles museum is amazing too. Like it was awesome. I had the best time. I really did. It was great. Absolutely great. It was one of my best trips. And it was right after I lost my dog Miles, who Milo was named after. My dog Miles. He was another boxer. He was a brindle boxer, full grown. Milo is supposed to be a smaller one, but Milo, I think, weighs more than Miles did. And Miles was thin and he had that football behind, that little tush. Milo got it too. I had to put Milo on a little diet because he's older now and I got to be careful. But yeah, so I had lost Miles. I quit smoking and I went to Scotland and England and I went, you ever see Rocky Horror Picture Show, guys? I went to and had T, where they did the time warp. Yes, I did, right there. I ain't lying. And that was for my 50th birthday. So it was great. It was great. Yes, the museum is right on the docks, right next to that hotel I stayed at. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. You can come to me and my sister in the Highlands. I love the Highlands. I'm telling you, if I could live anywhere and pick anywhere to live, I love Fort William. Now, in all fairness, that's the only place that I ever spent any real time in. You know what I mean? And I love the mountains, so that's important to me. So, but like I've not been to the Isle of Skye. I don't know if I could actually live that far. And I mean, like, I know that there's a hospital as I'm older than Fort William because you can see it. It's right there when you get off the train and stuff. But also, there's enough going on in Fort William, and then you're not too far from a lot of the other places. So, yeah, like Fort William. I don't know of any other place in the Highlands really. But Oban, by the water, that'd be really nice too. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard though. I got a dog, so yeah. Yep. But like, you know what I'd really like? So tell me how feasible is this? If I were to buy a narrow boat, right? Can I dock it in somebody's like yard? Is that how that works? Because I still need like a yard to walk my dog and I still want like a yard. And then like would I be able to also like purchase a car and park it somewhere? Is that feasible or would it have to be I want it to be a narrow boat. I don't know that I'm always going to be able to take it out because I'm one person and the locks. But if I wanted to live off of it, can I do that? I don't want to keep moving. I'm one person and it would be hard for me to keep moving. So, anyway, you guys can write to me about that because I'm really serious about that. Moving and getting a narrow boat. Can I also have one in Scotland or is it just for England? I'm not trying to be stupid. I just don't know the canal system. If I was going to live anywhere in England, Bristol. I really liked Bristol. I love the hills and the greenery there. It's not far from Wales, not far from Bath. That's a pretty central place. I liked it. Where's my book? Okay, guys, you guys are always distracting me. All right, chapter 6. We ready for Glencoe? Glencoe. Isn't that? I love Simone Labib, and I was watching. What did I watch? Monarch of the Glen. So that's what I was thinking. Okay, guys. Chapter 6. So who are we? Who do you think you are? Well, Just Jen, talk to me about that seriously, because I really want to do that. Thinking I would like to do that. I think I could do that. All right. Okay. So who are we? We live in a disposable society. It began its climb or decline in the 50s and 60s. It began peaking in the 70s and 80s to now being completely off the charts. We inherited it, perfected it, and ran with it. We, without thought, break down the old and replace it with the new. That includes people as well. Hasn't it yet been figured out that the honeymoon period always ends and real life settles in? Older people and things have character and cannot simply just be replaced, though it seems to be what we do. Remember, you do something long enough and it becomes habit. What do we do when life becomes routine? We change the routine. It's our choice. How do we do that? We can change it together with someone, or we can go in the search of what we think to be a better way. The grass is greener way. I already gave you my theory on that. We can repair what we have if it's damaged or begin to build anew. Either which way, it is the same amount of work. One just looks better because we haven't gotten there yet. For the closer view or the smell. Can we promise to be faithful? Honestly? Look at the questions this way. Can you promise to control yourself? I mean, that is really what is being asked of you. The answer is yes. Yes, you can. You do it every day at work and in everyday life when you keep your mouth shut and when you know you have something to get off your chest, but it can compromise your job or worse, can cause conflict. We are all trying to avoid that. It is just discipline that makes you control yourself. And it ultimately comes from the same place as getting to work on time does. It's the restraint of managing yourself. We have control over that. We do that and have practice in it. Some of us, however, choose not to, and we blame boredom, stupidity, and midlife when it's really about neither selfishness, disrespect. I'm sorry, hang on. When it's really about neither selfishness, disrespect, self esteem, issues, or betrayal. Maybe it's a combination of the few. Maybe it's about all four of them and more. Funny, because when someone betrays another, have you ever noticed that it's the victim that continues to suffer? They want to give the perpetrator another chance, but the truth is, they are unable to. The trust is shattered and the heart is emptied, and to save their relationship, they walk around like everything is fine and forgotten. We have a choice about that. There are boundaries. The thing that is most important about boundaries is that we need to realize that they are ours. We dictate them to ourselves. If we allow someone else to establish your boundaries, then they will be constantly changing based on who is determining them. If it is you that determines them, then they are clear and stand strong regardless of who may be testing them. I have certain boundaries that are not to be compromised. For example, if someone tells me an untruth, I find out about it, I cannot trust them completely again. Something actually disconnects inside of me. I can't help it. So I always, at some point, make it clear when building relationships of what my boundaries are. Because to me, lying is disrespecting, and that is most certainly crossing my boundaries. It doesn't mean that you have to end the friendship. If it is a partnership, you might consider it because that is a part of your daily life. If it is a friend, obviously not your best, you can still be friends, just know what they don't always tell. Just know that they don't always tell the truth and be careful with what you tell them. They might be a perfect person to have dinner with because they are entertaining and animated. You can have dinner and enjoy the company. Just remember that everything should be valued as entertainment, like the National Enquirer, not the New York Times. You may have to edit what you say, but you have control over that. You can still enjoy other aspects of that person, just don't trust them with the good stuff. I had a friend who had gotten into some trouble and she stole from me. I still hung out with her, not at my house, not in my car. I made sure that I kept everything in my front pocket. I had kept her within the same boundaries that I would keep anyone that stole from me. Not in my home, not in my car, not where there's a piece of anything personal that I must keep my eyes on. So establish your boundaries. A list of what you will and will not put up with in a relationship. Then make another list of what you certainly are unable to tolerate. Put the two lists together. Maybe the first list you can make some concessions on, but the second you cannot. Pick and choose your battles. You don't have to win at everything, as long as you win on what you simply can't compromise on. If you can't win on the right, if you can't win on that right away and you simply can't compromise on it, you are doing fine if you're heading downfield. You don't have to score a touchdown every time. You just have to keep moving in the direction of the goal. What about the I love them if they would only? The changing of someone, theory or concept? Whatever it is to be labeled, that cannot be done. Not without bribery or blackmail, maybe extortion, but I'd have to check with my kindergarten pal about that. Changing someone else is something that you have absolutely no control over. It has always amazed me that people claim to fall in love with someone, but then have this laundry list of the few things that need to be changed about them. We cannot change people, and let's face it, we don't want to change either. Not because someone wants us to. I do think that we have some control in how someone feels about us. On the contrary of what I've heard and continue to hear, I do think that can be changed. I mean, really, how many times have we had our feelings about someone shaken because of an action that they caused? It would only make sense that we could have some control over the positive feelings that someone has or does not yet have with it, or does not yet have with us. It just takes a little bit of time and patience. If we are given or maybe have to steal moments, maybe awkward at times, but still moments with someone that we feel we have a connection with, then making attempts at getting them to see us is possible. Stalking is frightening and illegal, so stay away from that. Truthfully, the best way to get to know someone, I think, is through a friendship. Again, you have to deal with that discipline over yourself issue. I have heard a lot of people say that they have enough friends. What's that all about? I have enough friends. I want something more. If you think that someone you haven't really met, if you think that someone you haven't really met yet may be good enough to be your partner, but not your friend, then what kind of standards do you hold for yourself? More frightening, how desperate are you? If you can accept people on their terms, you can pretty much get to know anyone. But again, it takes time, and I see it as an investment. Making even another good friend would be okay with me. Having that friend become my partner would just make it bigger and better and a better investment. I could do that. I can wait for the right person so that I am not wasting my time or someone else's with the wrong. Can you? Or are you still living in the I want what I want when I want it phase? Didn't that go out in the 90s with inexcusable collateral damage and the mullet haircut? I have to say that many of my exes are friends. My feeling, if they were good enough to attempt to share my life with them, they're good enough to be my friends. Maybe because most of us started off as friends, it was just as easy to go back to it. Maybe because we started out as friends and continued to keep the friendship alive while in the relationship meant that we were able to talk to each other. I am not sure if I found that I was betrayed in any way, would I be able to maintain a friendship. But as far as I know, it hadn't happened, and I cannot blame my ex for things. I was impossible to talk to for a while there, remember? In other words, if it simply just didn't work out, why would I want to be angry? I don't want someone to be with me if they don't want to. People grow apart and fall out of love. Disagreements more than agreements. I understand the balance there. If it's over and you know it, get out. Don't play games. Don't stay because of your insecurities. Leave with respect at the same time. You will show it too. The truth is, very few people know their partner before they start sharing a life and making promises of forever. That infinite word that just doesn't exist in a tangible world. I think that dating someone is a waste of time. Wait a minute. Don't burn my book. Don't burn my book. I'm just saying this. It's in my opinion that when we date someone that we were putting our best foot forward. The odds of us tripping are extremely high when we do that. It's going to happen. And then at last, things have not foamed out of our mouths before because we have been on our very best behavior. But finally, we're ready to slobber out at the other person, the one we have been putting on this impressive act for. Will see and hear us for being who we really are. To me, it's best to hang out, spend time as friends. That way, the other person is really getting to know you and you are getting to know them. Before you fall in love, see how they react when they stub their toe or shut their hand in a cabinet. Sometimes the people that we meet in our lives are just meant to be friends. Nowadays, friendships seem to last longer than partnerships, so don't just discard the idea of that if that's the case. Good friends are as a priceless commodity in today's emotionally disposable society. If it's physical, don't act like it's anything more. Be fair and let the person decide, just like you did. If someone appears only interested in sleeping with you, chances are that's all they want. So be honest with yourself upon deciding on consenting or not. That person isn't likely to change their mind after sex. While you might feel it's a sacred act, others may consider it as glib as a special handshake. Certainly don't expect someone to hold what's important to you to them within the first few hours of the same night. We expected so much when we fell in love for the first time, didn't we? That person, like a superhero. We believed in love and how it was the answer. Just like Todd Rundgren said, That's from my generation. You know that song, Love is the Answer? What's the theme of this generation? Marriage, it seems, doesn't appear to work much anymore because people don't seem to work on their marriage. I do think people fall out of love, but I don't think it's instantaneously to on the day that they admit it. I think the signs appear, and instead of heeding their warning, we're looking heeding beside wait, and instead of heeding their warning, we're off looking for the escape route. It's true that we are not in love with our parents. Sorry. It's true that we are not in love with our partners every day. Do we even love ourselves every day? But unlike ourselves, whom we cannot leave, we change our surroundings, blaming those around us for our unhappiness. When we never sought their help or even bothered to tell them how we were feeling. So we leave the relationship with the mantra that we just can't take it anymore. What did we do to try? I also want to add this. If you were among some of the stupid, okay, rough word, if you were someone who betrayed another in any way and are now trying to seek forgiveness, understand this. It is not up to you when you are forgiven. It is up to the person you betrayed if they can honestly forgive you and when. It's always been a selfish thing for someone, I think, to deceive someone, get caught, and then decide how long they should be punished for. Granted and fine, it is like an emotionally stifling prison. But you know, if you can't do the time or you're gonna whine about it, then don't do the crime. Bottom line for this chapter, we have control over acting upon our feelings, not anyone else's. We need to be honest about what we can and cannot accept, not just about what we don't want to accept. Establish boundaries. They will dictate to others how you will allow someone to treat you. And remember, how you want to be treated is probably the same way that someone else wants to be treated. What do you think, guys? What are you thinking, guys? Doot 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 doot. Well, we're almost halfway through the book. How we doing? What do you mean I don't like marriage? I got married, I think, not after I wrote that book. Yeah, I got married before I wrote that book. I believe in marriage. Was that to me, Alice? Thank you, Joy. The chapter has me feeling some type of way. Well, okay, don't know what that means. I thought you said most won't make it. Well, statistically, if you don't, it's because they don't want to work on their marriage. They want to go to the other side of the fence and check out the dog shit over there. That's what I'm saying. I don't write anymore. Thank you, Kathy Hannah. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm thinking that you have a lot of. Yeah, I'm 61 years old. I hope I have something. It's just paying attention. I think grass is greener, but still has to be mowed, or the grass is greener over the septic tank. Well, my theory is the grass always looks greener on the other side, but there's the same amount of dog shit over there on the side you're on. You know where to walk. So, you know, I believe in marriage. If two people want to work on it, absolutely do. But it seems like people want to give up. It's too easy to get a divorce, you know. Disposable society. That's what I'm saying. So, thank you, Kathy Hannah. So, thank you, Just Jen. Just Jen. So, you guys are gonna be joining me mañana, with our friend Jamie. You know, I hate to tell you, Ozark, but I don't think a lot of younger people, I don't think that they would get it. You know, everybody wants to live their life. Everybody thinks they have their way. And the truth is, it is our lives. Think about it. I want you guys to think about something, right? So, if we're not here anymore, right? Like just if we're not here anymore, then everything we know is not here anymore. If we change our mind about something, then we just don't see things in the same belief system we saw them before. Things get shifted. Do you see how powerful that is? That's really, really powerful that we have that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's amazing. And you have to understand that the only thing that we have control over is the way that we act. That's it. That is it. We have no control over how we feel. We have no control over love at first sight or when we're really, really angry or we're really, really hurt. The only control we have is how we present it to the world. And sometimes, if we're overwhelmed, we become unhinged, like Fancy, who doesn't have enough common sense to just shut down the live stream and process shit. Or we cry, and I'm guilty. I'm a crier. I was never a crier as a kid, but I think as you get older, that's what happened anyway. Um, but if it becomes too much, I mean, you close the screen down and you get offline. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we spend a lot of time wishing people were somebody else or that they might behave in a certain way, and that we try to do things to make them maybe behave in a certain way. Excuse me, and that we have no control over that. Absolutely not. So we spend most of our time wishing and hoping and this and that. And all we have to do is work on how we present ourselves to the world and to try to remember some things like the message is more important than the voice. You know, get the message. If the message is important, then who says it is not? And the voice and screaming and yelling is not it. The message should be more important than the voice. You know, get out of your own way because ego just sucks, you know? So, and you guys know I'm a spiritual person as far as I believe in God. I believe ego, easing God out. You have to have humility, and if you don't have humility, you cannot, in my opinion, have any kind of real relationship in any way. It's not a weakness, you know? So, anyway, guys, I think that I have a few videos that I do want to work on. Anxious Aunt did something. I love those two girls. They did a video where they are asking Bree a very simple question, and I want to ask Bree with them. So I'm going to do a video about Anxious Aunt and their question. They can tell somebody to F off, but with that accent, you do it because it sounds so polite, right? Right? Humility is so important. Yes, it is. I'm glad you feel better, Joy. Apple Charlotte, is she in the house? Apple Charlotte, how you doing? Apple Charlotte's an amazing artist. You guys know that? All right, guys. So I have some sushi. I'm gonna eat some sushi. I'm not gonna eat that online. And thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this. We'll do this again, I think, on Wednesday, because tomorrow I'm doing something special with Milk, Honey, and Mayhem. And so we'll go back to doing this on Wednesday. All right, at 2:00. All right, guys. Kathy Hannah's gonna have some sushi too. I love Anxious Aunt. I love them so much. I think that they are so talented. I love their graphics. I love their sense of humor. I love the way they bounce off each other. And all right, guys. So yeah, so what do we say? Oh, thank you for the gifted membership, Opus Angels. Thank you for 50. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you to those people. Apple Charlotte. Apple Charlotte in the house. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Be better today than you were yesterday, not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Hey, don't forget, Jamie, to write to me about the email, about your address so I could send you bracelet. All right, guys, take care. Thanks.